Welcome back to Faywatch. This is a very special episode because
for some of us,
67.7% of the podcast is here. You know, we thought, why not broadcast from our nation's capital?
Yeah, here we are broadcasting live. At least 2 out of the 3 of us are broadcasting live from the District of Columbia.
In my apartment, but in different rooms because we couldn't figure out the cute couch setup vibe without the audio sounding terrible.
Logistically, it was difficult. So I specifically am broadcasting live from Will's bed.
Cute.
Wow.
A place that many aspire to be in, but few can attain.
Not as many as maybe I would like, but it is true few attain.
And I just want to address the elephant in the room, which is that we didn't tell Dina about this, but
I know it's supposed to be a surprise.
We were gonna surprise her on air somehow, but that got too challenging. I'm obviously a really spontaneous girly, and so yesterday afternoon I booked a flight to Baltimore. Just 2 hours later, I was at the airport.
Such a coastal elite.
I know, just such an elite, flying from New Haven to Baltimore on Avilo Airlines, which
without air conditioning.
What
they
even
don't
is
really
that?
have. It's like a budget airline. They don't really have air conditioning on the plane. So I was sweating rivulets. And also there was it's summer in the DMV, and so there were obviously thunderstorms in the afternoon, so we got delayed for a while on the tarmac, sweating our tits off. And then the pilot first was yeah, we're gonna be delayed for a while, so we're trying to see if we're gonna get a new route or not. And I was like,
how many routes are there?
I mean, I guess a lot.
Is it just one line? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's
it's not. I guess it's not like train tracks.
Well, you can fly different.
Right, in the sky, in different places.
Both different in multiple dimensions. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So that and then it made me realize that apparently one of the route options is what altitude you're flying. And so when the pilot came back on, he was like, yeah, they gave us a route. It's low altitude, so it's going to be pretty bumpy, but so we're going to need...
It's flying the peasant airline. What do you expect?
My nightmare.
I was like, I don't know why. I feel like he needs Avilo needs to splash out on some messaging.
Bedside manner.
Because it's low altitude route. It's going to be pretty bumpy. I don't think you need to kind of imply that we're getting the shitty route. Just be yeah, it's just I would have just assumed any route would have some bumpiness, but he's they gave us the low altitude route, but it made the flight faster. So
okay, this is actually a good lead into my housekeeping news, and also why I am not in DC because I just got back from Europe. Otherwise, I would have.
Your tour of the continent.
We get it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Am I the coastal elite now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. We get it. You're just another...
Well, what I was going to say is that
You're a statistic.
Had an 8-hour plane ride. And what happened was that I was bored and I opened my Kindle and I thought, oh, why don't I just catch up a little bit on Crescent City?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I knew, I was, in fact, finishing the entire book.
Wow. So you have finished CC1.
So I have finished the book, so...
I mean, you made it pretty far.
Honestly, kudos to me. As LinkedIn
I didn't
would
know
say.
you possessed that self-restraint, so...
No, I had to read 6 other books.
Yeah.
Just to get myself through it. But yeah, no more terrible guesses from me. I will have some kind of notes app apology at the end about things I was so wrong about, and we have so much to talk about.
Don't worry,
and
I've been
neither of you will
tallying.
talk about any of it with me yet still, which is fine. Yeah, sorry, RIP, my bad predictions.
They were.
I mean,
some of them were right.
Yeah, you got
were
some,
right.
But some of them were wrong.
Some of them were so deeply wrong.
But
you got to take some swings.
Yeah.
you do it in this life. You have to
this
take some
here
swings.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we should sort of jump into the thick of it.
I suppose.
We did leave off in a bit of a pickle.
I'm shocked you remember where we left off. I black out every time we record this podcast. Not from alcohol, mind you, just from, I don't know what.
To be clear.
So I believe Rachel will be our little chaperone today. Rach, do you want to take us to the promised land of Crescent City?
I would love to. I would love to so much. So we left off on probably my favorite chapter in the book. Hunt and Bryce were on the roof, just got attacked by a demon or whatever. It's raining. He's nuzzling her neck, just like a greedy little vampire, just nuzzling her neck.
Hot.
Unfortunately, she's stroking his back. Everything is going right. And unfortunately, fucking Sabine Fendir storms through the door of the roof and ruins everything. Let's keep this brief because she interrupted sexy time and I don't want to like reward her for that.
We can't
no, that's true.
reward that behavior.
That was not good behavior.
So it's all like, oh, like Hunt draws a gun or whatever, and Sabine like, what the fuck is your problem? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God, that Sabine voice is exactly how I pictured it.
Yeah, she's like crazy. But she says, but basically, okay, from this little standoff on the roof, we get some important information, which is that, in short, Sabine says that she did not kill Danica. She reveals that Danica stole the horn.
Ooh.
And she reveals that she doctored the security footage to protect Danica. And she doesn't seem to know anything about the demon that just attacked them.
Okay, fair.
Also, while this is happening, just like there is a brief sexy time still because Hunt slips behind Bryce with his like hand around her waist.
Yeah, I thought that was like kind of
and
hot.
like she's up against his chest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and doesn't it say something about he like was almost gonna like put his arm over her breasts to like
like in case
her heart?
Sabine shot her, just in case.
But like the visual of that is so funny.
Why wouldn't you say chest? Like I put her like he almost put his hand over her chest, but it's like he almost put his hands over her breasts. I'm like, okay, Hunt still like has like half a boner.
Hunt,
and
get your head in the game.
Yeah, his signals are getting crossed in his brain. Which, fair enough. It's hard to pivot that quickly.
It is hard to pivot.
I mean,
I've never had to.
Really
I've never had
to.
to.
Like, but I imagine, be a weird vibe. So, yeah, that's...
Also, LOL, wasn't Amelie just, like, across the roof being a voyeur or whatever that's called and just, like, watching them make out and texting Sabine about it?
Yeah, Sabine, the
like
play-by-play. Yeah.
Lucky her. Bryce is obviously very shooketh by the revelation that Danica stole the horn. She's shooketh for approximately 5 days.
Yeah, that's a long time in this narrative.
Mm-hmm. She's not eating. She's hardly eating. She's like, the vibes are not vibing. She's processing. There's no more hugs that lead to neck nuzzling, as Hunt observes.
Well, and he also okay, sorry. I think this is where you're
No,
going.
I don't you dare think that I would not include
okay.
how to put this. Hunt's been having to relieve himself. I guess that's not what you say.
Like he's a dog going to the bathroom.
Hunt had to take a cold shower. In quotes.
And quote, take matters into his own hands.
Yeah.
If you know what
catch
SJM
our
means.
drift.
Yeah.
Wait, can I tell you guys my favorite part of this? Mm-hmm. I think this is so funny that SJM is literally like trying to incorporate foreshadowing into like this brief scene of Hunt by himself in the shower moment. Did you guys catch this? It said, I'm so sorry for reading this out loud. I really do apologize. When it says that like he came, it says hard enough he saw stars.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like that's just the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's like, thank you for including the foreshadowing where we're really paying attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I didn't get that, but
No, I was also on a more sort of literal
same
plane, but I'm glad that you caught that.
Literature.
So, such literature. And this is like the first, I think, of 2 times, probably at least this episode, where we are informed that like Hunt has really had to be taking matters into his own hands like frequently.
Yeah. No, it feels like it's becoming a regular occurrence.
Oh, okay, good. I think I only clocked one, so
yeah, I think there's a second time.
Yeah.
Great.
I love this. This is why we need This is why multi POV is actually like such a beautiful thing. Because if we get single POV, we don't know how much the like broody, like will they, won't they guy is in fact like jerking off in the shower, like thinking about the heroine. You don't know if does he
her
even
breathy
like her?
Moans. Yeah.
Well, and also he's like jerking it to like her face.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like, do you guys think anybody's ever jerked it to the image of your face? Like your face?
Yeah.
Like specifically my face? I don't know. Like,
not your face.
Well,
Oh, I thought that was just like, oh, she's saying that because it's like, oh, it's like romantic, but like nobody ever really does that.
I mean, it's kind of hard. We've actually entered like a very interesting space because obviously of the three of us, I know the most of what Hunt's going through, but I also have aphantasia. So I can't picture anyone's anything really.
Oh, wow. You just have to like think about like the concept of them.
This is getting a little too.
No wonder why you're so philosophical, Will.
Well, I guess like now we've had
that's all I have.
We've also had official confirmation that Will. No, I'm not even going to say it. Anyways, let's move on.
Even though we will be coming back.
Yeah. We'll circle back.
Anywho, that's where we're at this time. Bryce, Hunt, and Rune are in the library at some point during this time.
Having their little study group.
Yeah, they're having their little study group. Rune says he was talking to that med witch again, and she mentioned that there's some relatively new drug on the market that is a synthetic healing magic. So it's like synthetic magic, and if taken in high quantities, it's like extremely potent, kind of very dangerous, maybe.
So it's like magic, but not magic. But light, but not light.
Right. Yeah. Like, I wonder.
Which I'm currently editing an episode in which Dina.
I know.
Dina, like, out of hand rejected this premise. And I sort of played along because I wanted to mislead her.
No, that was so mean. I was like, why would it be something in modernity? It's like, hello, the entire point of this is that we're like a modern fantasy.
Yeah, synth. So they're chitty chatty, and Bryce is like, oh yeah, like BTW, Danica stole a horn, Rune. We found out that Danica stole a horn. He's like, what? And they're talking about all this, and Rune asks, do you think Danica stole it for the horn for herself? And Bryce says, no way. You know, she must have taken the horn to keep her killer from getting it, and they killed her for doing that, and then, you know, they're still hunting for the horn, basically.
Oh, also, can I just say, Rune is like, this is when Rune has his sword, and he's talking about how there's like a second little knife thing.
Yeah.
That I legitimately...
What was that?
What do you think about that?
I haven't read the second book, so I was like, is this one of those things where it's like, was this a knife that somebody had in like ACOTAR, Throne of Glass or something? Or is this maybe something that comes back?
I wonder. That makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh my God, Rachel.
Yeah, so he's talking at length about some knife that once the two are united, then when knife and sword are reunited, so shall our people be, the Fae, you know, who have been like separated over several planets or worlds or something. So I don't know. It probably doesn't mean anything, but
there is, and this is another, you know, maybe light spoiler, but quote, he has like the sword out on the table, and quote, Bryce leaned back away from it as a bead of starlight sang down the fuller and sparkled at the tip. And then like Rune is like raising an eyebrow at Bryce because in his head he's like, why isn't she like more impressed with my sword? Like, it's like a cool sword, and she's like leaning away from it. Like, I don't get what's happening.
I only caught that on the reread. I was like, oh.
Amidst all of this, Bryce has been in a funk, but she has a couple smiles here, so that makes Hunt happy. And then they're like looking at each other and smiling, and Rune gave Hunt a sharp look, like he knew every filthy thing Hunt had thought about Bryce, everything he'd done to pleasure himself, while imagining it was her mouth around him, her hands, her soft body.
Hunt,
shit.
Get it together.
I know. He says shit. He was in such deep, unrelenting shit. Rune only snorted as if he knew that too.
I love the dynamics.
That's masturbation reference number 2. I think we might get another one at some point.
Do.
I also love Hunt imagining Rune imagining him, you know?
Yeah, right.
I love it. Anyways, we get some otter mail. I wish that we had like a sound effect for like otter mail, and then it'd be like do 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 do
Mail time.
I mean, the Mario song.
Yeah, the Mario mail time, like or like Blues Clues.
Yeah, we need a Blues Clues.
We need an otter mail. This is a call. We're putting out a call to any of our listeners who are like sound engineer musicians. We need otter mail soundtrack. Thank you.
And also just otter mail in general.
Oh, and that's actually more important. We just want otter mail from you. So an otter shows up and rings the wee little doorbell that Bryce made Jessica install for like shorter patrons.
See, Jessica is such a softie. Like, she has this hard exterior, but she's willing to fork over money for little things like this, you know?
Yeah. A little doorbell for otters. Yeah. And he has this reflective yellow vest on. He stood on his hind legs. His little paw on the buzzer.
So cute.
Yeah. So she gets the otter mail. It's from Therian. And it says...
Obviously, Will's boyfriend.
Oh, yes. And mine, honestly. Will doesn't get Therian to himself.
Why?
Because I want him.
Oh.
We can share.
I don't want to share with you.
First you say that like you have never masturbated to like my face.
To your visage.
Now this. Are you even a friend? I don't get it. Anyways, Therian says, I think you'll find this of interest. Kisses Therian. Because he's a cheeky boy.
He's so cheeky.
He's
going the whole time on Love Island, on Crescent City Love Island.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to like really breeze through whatever the fuck Therian did. He like sent them some pics. Okay, Cliff's notes. He sent them some pictures of like other crime scenes. And basically, the long and short of it is they realize and decide that the Cristallos did not kill the pack because the Cristallos' other victims don't look like how the pack looked when they were killed, aka a pile of like pulp flesh. So
can never look at the word pulp the same again.
Yeah, I think that's basically what we get from this. But the otter is more important, obviously.
Well, and then, sorry, before we leave our cozy little library, a Lily update that is lovely is that we learned in one of their little like back and forths, Bryce reveals that she buys shisha for Lily, and
strawberry shisha,
which then Lily like hotboxes like her little glass dome all the time.
I know, how cute is that?
It's so cute. And when Lily is like talking about her family and like telling the story, and Bryce is like, the shit changes every time.
Yeah, Bryce is kind of being a little bit rude to her.
Yeah, but that's how you know she's feeling better.
Yeah. Off we go to back to the apartment. We're going to summon a demon.
I love this part.
Yay, we're summoning a demon. So Bryce takes out that obsidian salt that she bought from our friend, the satyr, in the meat market. And so they're doing their little thing. So you can make like circles of like, you make a big circle of the salt for the demon that you're going to summon. And then you also make a circle of salt for you to stand in.
Mm-hmm. This is like classic. This is true in anytime you summon someone.
I was going to say, I've seen Charmed. I've seen Vampire Diaries.
we all know how to do it. I like that she makes a little circle of salt for Syrinx too.
Yeah.
Oh, wee Syrinx. And like, doesn't she get him like nestled in his crate or something?
Yeah.
I don't know, so cute. Yeah, so Hunt's like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, whatever. Like, I'm doing a, cheeky.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hunt gets distracted again by wanting to wrap his hand around her beautiful red ponytail and like,
and yank her back and kiss her.
Again.
Which is right after she calls him a narc, which I love. So
I know.
Clearly
he's
they
like,
have
I am a narc.
He is, like self-aware king. He's like, I am a narc, you freak. Because he's like a demon hunter, let's all remember. So he's usually like supposed to be like keeping the demons out.
Right.
So he's like, oh shit, I should like arrest her for doing this, but whatever.
Anyway, her ponytail. Anyway.
Yeah, and then
moving
he's
on.
like, ooh, but that ponytail. Yeah. Anyways, so Bryce is like, I'm not gonna like tell you who I'm summoning. I'm just gonna summon. So she summons, and the temperature starts rapidly dropping. Who shows up? But Prince Adis, who occupies the 5th level of hell called the Chasm. We don't really need to know, like, all these princes of hell. I mean, we do, but we don't.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I think all we need to know is that he's a little cutie.
He's like
Yeah.
top 3. Yeah. Also, definitely gay.
Well, I don't know, because he's kind of like
Yeah, I don't know. Is
vibing
he?
Bryce.
Yeah, but they're just like vibing.
I don't know. Is he maybe like a bi king?
No, he is. He's like post-sexual, you know, like
Right.
he could
I
be
was
attracted
getting,
to
like-
any and all things.
Like cute, like Twinkie NB vibes.
Yeah, no, that's probably correct. That's correct.
Fine boned face.
Blonde hair.
Yeah, blonde
Yeah.
hair, blue eyes, gross.
Not a good look, but I was immediately like, oh, I like him. And then I was like, what is wrong with me? Why do
Yeah, I mean, but he seems like, you know,
He's kind of a vibe.
we learned that he like did some nice things. Like he did a nice thing for Bryce, kind of. He doesn't seem totally bad.
I know.
We're unclear, you know.
I just feel like, I don't know if it's that Reese ruined me or what it is, but every time we meet one of these men who's clearly evil, like, aka remember me with Micah, I'm like, oh, maybe he's secretly good. Like, why am I like this Prince of Hell is secretly good? Like, he's probably not, but he is like kind of nice to Bryce, so we'll take that.
TBD. So Hunt starts wigging out because, yeah, it's like she
It's
has
like the
summoned
third,
like
the third worst person.
right, demon. Like it's not just any demon. It's like a big old like demon. He's further wigging out because the demon appears and she's like, "Oh, last time I saw you, you were a cat."
And she's like, "What's up?"
She's like, "Hey," and Hunt's like, "What the fuck?" Like later, Bryce will tell Hunt. It turns out that after her visit to the Oracle, which we previously discussed, you know, she's all upset. She goes out into the park outside the Oracles and she's crying. And this white cat with blue eyes shows up and she's like, immediately knows that that's not a cat. And he basically sits with her while she's crying and like is chill and says to her, "What blinds an oracle?"
This was another one of those things where I was like, I have to picture this as mind speaking. Otherwise, I'm picturing Sabrina the Teenage Witch and her cat. And that's just like
an
fucking with me
animatronic
too.
cat. Yeah. Yeah. I think it has to be mind speaking.
That cat from what's the Halloween with the witches?
Oh,
with Sarah
Halloween
Jessica
Town?
Parker. No. The Disney Channel, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus,
It's like the
yeah.
cat from Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Love. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shout out to all the cats of Hollywood. We love you.
We dedicate this episode to you.
I'm feeling a little like silly and goofy because I'm like sitting in Will's bed right now. So I think I'm just like
So funny.
on a journey.
My favorite thing that the prince says to her is when he like looks at Hunt and he's like, "Oh, Bryce, like I wasn't sure what your tastes were. Like I could show up looking more like that next time." And
Yeah.
I know, cheeky.
cheeky. He'd get pretty far on Crescent City Love Island too, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I need this show so badly.
We should just like create a bracket.
Maybe we should get SJM to write it. She obviously loves reality TV, so she could write it, but it's like a scripted.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun.
There's all this talk like ACOTAR was picked up by Hulu or whatever, TBD if they're going to make it, but like I think she should just pivot to this.
Yeah.
It's kind of a deep cut, but yeah.
It would be so good. Anyways, think about it, SJM. We know you listen to our podcast.
Religiously.
So think about it. And in terms of the substance of this conversation, there's not a lot. I mean, basically she's like, "Are you sending the demons? Do you know who's sending the demons?" And he's like, "No, I'm not sending them. And no, it's not the other princes of hell."
And like any like super old mysterious creature species, he has to like give her some kind of like vague like clue to follow.
The other things he says to Hunt are interesting.
Yeah.
He says, "A fallen warrior." He like finally turns around and looks at Hunt. And he's like, "A fallen warrior with the power of ... Adis's groomed brows lifted in surprise. His blue opal eyes narrowed to slits, then simmered like the hottest flame. "What are you doing with a black crown around your brow?" Question mark.
Question mark.
I didn't need to add the question mark.
So does he not get the news down there?
He doesn't get the news in that detail.
Well,
it
no,
seems.
I think he might know. I mean, I think he might know what that is, but he's calling it something else.
Right.
So
but
Hunt's
he doesn't
like,
know Hunt. He doesn't know Hunt.
Okay.
I guess not. But that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because first we had the Oracle saying weird shit to Hunt of like,
Right,
ooh.
calling him things. The Lord
And
of
now we have
Lightning.
Adis being like, ooh, what? How? So very intrigued by that. He also mentions that hell is basically a planet and there are a bunch of planets and maybe their universe is endless, etc. Who can say?
So fun. Love that. Give me more multiverse theory.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he can't stay for long because the temperature keeps plummeting and they're going to freeze to death soon. So he takes off.
A good reason to leave.
Yeah. In terms of finding Danica's killer, he says, look for what's in between or whatever and like test the stuff again or something.
Yeah, he's like, they summon a demon from apparently another planet. And he's like, run the tests again. It's like, okay, CSI. Like,
so he dips and they call Declan. Again, boring.
oh, well, he
but-
says, sorry, his one last thing is he's like, make the drop and find me
Oh,
after.
Yeah,
yeah.
and and then later as well, when she's falling asleep later, the cat appears on her dresser and kind of like repeats this stuff. He's like, what?
Just to
lines
make
an
sure she gets
oracle?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to really breeze through basically Cliff's notes. They call Declan. They say like, oh, like run the test or whatever. And they're like in that conversation, Declan's like, oh, well, we didn't run this special Fey technology test that we could have run because the Autumn King ordered us not to. And Bryce is livid.
The whole thing was kind of confusing. I was like, okay, we're getting mad and we're feeling
Yeah.
betrayed all over again. We've kind of done this.
Yeah, let's just gloss. We have a lot of things to talk about and we're just going to gloss. So she goes to a whiskey bar and this time she actually is drinking for the first time in 2 years.
She takes her shoes off in this eating establishment.
Yeah.
And like puts her feet on the little, you know, those little brass bars at the bottom of bars.
You know, she's on a journey. And listen, the long and short of it is Hunt's like, okay, I'm not going to tell you not to drink away your feelings, but like I sort of am, but I'm sort of not going to tell you that. But like I'm going to suggest that maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, I feel like he handled that pretty well.
Yeah,
all
me
things
too.
considered.
And she's all grumpy, whatever, snoopy. And actually, you know what? This encounter brings us to another very important rule of the genre. The genre. Why did I say it like that? The genre.
Genre.
The genre.
The genre. The genre. This brings us to an important rule in the genre. Rule 111, which is that hurt people hurt people. Okay?
Indeed.
Hurt people love to hurt people.
Yeah,
and
they
so
have to, actually.
they must. So he says, look, you're not the only person to have lost someone that you love. And she says, tell me about her Hunt. Let's hear the full unabridged sob story at last. And he held her gaze and said, don't be an asshole. I'm trying to talk to you. And she says, and I'm trying to drink. And then Juniper texts her, blah, blah, blah. And Hunt says, maybe your friend is trying to tell you something too. And then Bryce says, weren't you going to tell me your heartbreaking story about your amazing girlfriend? What would she think about the way you manhandled me and practically devoured my neck the other night? Oh no. And she
Brycey.
regrets it the moment the
Yeah.
words come out. Of course.
But luckily, Hunt knows about Rule 111. And
He really does.
He has learned, and he's just like, he doesn't
Yeah.
fall for it.
He's like kind of fine.
Yeah, he's not
no,
baited.
he's such a mature king.
Here.
in this
Yes.
moment.
Right. In this instance, guys, this is extremely mature on several
It is.
levels
It
that
really
I need
is.
to discuss. Because, first of all, he stares at her for a long moment, and all he said was, I'll see you at home, which he calls it home.
I
by the way.
know.
Oh,
Yeah, that got me.
Will, do you have nothing to like sigh about?
I mean, that didn't get me, but yeah, it's cute.
Okay. And he goes and it's like in his head, it's like he could either yell at her or exercise. So he goes to exercise. He also leaves her a little tonic to help her with her wound or what her injury. And he goes home and we do get a third masturbation reference. I'll get to that in a second. But He goes home, he exercises, and then he cleans up all the obsidian salt, walks and feeds Syrinx, and then sat down on the couch to wait for Bryce. So, like, not only did he not snap at her or whatever, but he went home and, like, did house chores.
Yeah.
Okay, but isn't there an interpretation under which that is, like, passive-aggressive?
No.
You know, when you're, like, mad at someone and you want to, like, go out of your way to make them feel like you've done everything.
I don't think he's complex enough for that.
Will, who hurt you? Who hurt you, you sicko?
No, it's his home and he's taking care of it well.
Yeah, okay.
And he's Syrinx's daddy now.
Yeah.
He is Siri dad. He's Siri dad.
God. Okay, so that was super sweet. But we did also, in that space of time, he's thinking to himself, he's manhandled. The word had lingered, along with the truth. He hadn't thought about Shahar for a second while they'd been on the roof.
Oh, are you going
or
for it?
Or in the days following.
Are you going for it? No, keep going.
I guess I might. And when he'd when he'd had his hand wrapped around his C word in the shower that night and every night since, it hadn't been the archangel he'd thought of, not even close.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And he said Quinlan had to know that. She had to know what wound she'd hit. It's like, I don't know that she knows that you're not thinking about Shahar, because you definitely said for the rest of your life, every time you have sex with anyone, you're going to be thinking about Shahar.
And that you were ruined.
Yeah, he did pretty clearly say that. And she's not getting all these details that we're getting.
Don't ask me why I shied away from saying the C word, because also now I'm like thinking of him like wrapping his hand around like a see you next Tuesday, and I'm like his see you next Tuesday, and I don't know.
What did you just say?
I think everybody will get it.
I'm feeling silly and goofy. I don't know.
Yeah, you are. Well, I'm glad you didn't say the C word in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And you want to sully it.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, that is our third reference.
Maybe final for this episode.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I guess I'm also feeling really silly and goofy in a great way, because when we got our little breakfast sandwiches this morning, sorry, Dina, no offense, you weren't there. I got a iced chai and an iced basil lemonade. So I'm currently enjoying my iced basil lemonade, and the two beverages really have me like on a different astral plane.
Oh my God, little beverage goblin. That's the dream.
It is the dream. You know what wasn't the dream? Was the gaggle of gays doing trivia really loudly at 8:30 a.m. at this little coffee shop.
It was really weird.
It was like,
Why?
I didn't understand at
that's
all.
too much.
There was a group of young men who were literally like doing trivia at 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday in this place, like screaming their trivia.
Like a piercing noise.
Oh, that's wrong. That's incorrect.
It was terrible.
Will felt a lot of like hatred.
It became very homophobic. Anti-homophobic would be good.
Will unleashed a lot of homophobia. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Because I'm
she's a true ally.
Yeah.
The token ally of this podcast, everybody.
Right.
Absolutely. I take my duties seriously. But I digress. So Bryce finally comes home. Hunt's what is it that's so sexy about this? Hunt's sitting on the couch with a beer, watching the Sunfall game.
So like, straight token ally.
What's happening? But you guys love it too. You know it.
Like him just sitting on the couch is not like.
No, yeah, that's not doing it for me.
Is he wearing his hat backwards?
Yeah, right. Is his hat on?
No, well, it's implied. Okay.
It is implied, I guess.
But he has a beer and he's like watching the Sunball game and he's waiting for her after he's already cleaned up and walked the dog. I'm sorry, just something is doing it for me. I don't know.
Because you have like a well-trained, domesticated male.
Yeah.
That's what's doing it for you.
Anyways, she came home. She got groceries and she's like, I'm cooking you an apology meal, basically. Which is sweet.
It's really cute. I love when women have like one small, like kind of bad meal that they cook the entire time, and that's it. You know?
Is that I can't relate because I'm like a really good cook, but
doesn't like when
she
Farrah
means in the
does
book.
whole
She
thing?
means in the books.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I feel like male as cook is a big SJM vibe.
Oh yeah, we got that. We also get that this episode. We'll talk about it. We can just say now. Turns out Hunt knows how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said it'd be kind of embarrassing if I like lived more than 2 centuries and didn't know how to cook. And it's
Again,
that's
a
correct.
well-trained, domesticated male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect for keeping in your home.
Yes, exactly. Him and Siri. Sorry if like the three like sort
Men's
of straight
rights
male like listeners are feeling really alienated right now. I mean, I guess we probably already alienated you, so you might not be listening anymore, but whatever. Shout out.
We're not aiming for that demographic.
You're not our
Also,
key demo.
Rachel, you were just being so supportive of them and their like couch sitting beer drinking habits. So
Yeah,
like you threw them
Yeah,
a
if
bone
they stick to a
already.
script,
Yeah.
we support
By the way,
that.
yeah, I was being so impressed by like them doing like a little like walking and feeding the dog and like cleaning up the obsidian salt. Mark, whenever I do summoning circles, Mark refuses to clean it up.
Oh my god, Mark, do better.
So they have some chitty chatty, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we're going to talk about it, I guess. But she basically said, like, they talk about a couple things. One of the things is she's like, I'm sorry, I'm still, like, all fucked up. But honestly, I was fucked up even before Danica died. And I'm, like, a sad, miserable person.
Sad girl.
Yeah. And, you know, she touches on, like, and he's like, why before she died? And she's like, well, all my friends were, like,
Girl boss.
making something of their lives, and I was just like lame, going nowhere. I was like basically a secretary, blah blah blah. He was like, well, why didn't you loved dancing, like why didn't you try to
Oh, I love this
be in
part.
the
Go on.
ballet? And she pointed to the sweep of her hips. I was told my half human body was too clunky. I was also told that my boobs were too big and my ass could be used as an aerial port landing pad. Your ass is perfect. The word slipped out.
Rachel's hot voice kills me every time.
He refrained from commenting on just how much he liked the other parts of her too, how much he wanted to worship them, starting with that ass of hers. Hunt is also, in addition to being a toe man, he's also clearly an ass man.
He is an
Which
ass
we
man,
love.
but it's like she was like basically I was too hot to be a dancer. Like I'm sorry. Like I tragically was so hot they wouldn't let me be a dancer.
Yeah, which I don't know if we talked about this before, but also the funny thing is like Juniper literally has hooves.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I guess you can't be like a quote unquote curvy, half human, half fae, but you can be a literal fawn with like hooves.
If you're skinny enough, which honestly
Like how-
kind of sounds like ballet to me.
I guess so, but like how are you, like, you're putting your like hooves in some point shoes? I don't know. But anyways. We also get more info about this run-in that Danica and her had where they were almost killed.
Oh my god. Psychotic.
It's a question mark for me, but Bryce is like, yeah, like Danica's senior
Her
thesis
senior thesis.
was on the history of the illegal animal trade, and she uncovered a real smuggling ring. But
Doing her
nobody,
history paper.
yeah, nobody in the Ox or the 33rd would help her, so we went to go deal with it ourselves.
Clearly, I've never researched a history paper the right way.
Yeah, like they were gonna go do like some vigilante.
This is just like the most unbelievable part of this fantasy book to me.
Yeah, it's like a little unclear.
Have you met a senior in college? They can't do anything.
Yeah, but maybe they're like delulu enough that
Yeah, I think that's
they're like,
key.
oh, I know what we should do. We should go take like matters into our own hands.
In a different
Right,
sense
right, in a different
that
way.
Right,
does.
right,
That, frankly, would have been a more realistic.
right. I guess
I don't know. Everyone senior year found out. Not everyone. That was
What?
a big thing.
Found
People
out about
like,
masturbation.
well, like I was gonna say, a lot of women started dating each other.
Gina
senior
looks
year
really scared
in
right
my
now.
college.
I was in
what
a
you're gonna
Catholic
say.
university, so it was rough out there.
I mean, I'm sure there was some discovery as well, but who can say? Anyways, so yeah, like I guess they went and they tried to set these like unspecified animals free or whatever, and then the asp shifters.
Oh, sorry. What the hell? I could have Googled this. What the fuck is
It's
an
a
ass?
snake.
Oh.
It's like the thing that killed Cleopatra. She killed herself
Yeah.
with.
It's like poison
I
snake.
do need to look up that piece of history and also what an asp is. Noted.
Oh, is now a good time? I'm having a lot of sidetracks today. Maybe I should save this for our next episode. Is this a good time to tell her about what Serena said about us?
Who's
Yeah.
Serena?
So last night in our nation's capital, we had a wonderful pizza picnic with friend of the pod, R.I.P. Alicia.
Yes. Still alive.
And Alicia has a wonderful sister, still alive. She has a wonderful sister named Serena, who's sort of our main Gen Z
liaison
consultant.
Yeah.
She listens to the pod. She's a big fan.
She's our N=1 focus group.
Yeah, and exactly. And she speaks for all of Gen Z. And Alicia's like, no, like, yeah, she loves the pod, but, well, don't take this the wrong way. But she did want me to ask you, do you sometimes intentionally dumb yourselves down for the audience? And I was like, no. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Literally this dumb.
Yeah. And so apparently the main example that was given was Memento Mori. Apparently it was just unfathomable that we did not know and hadn't heard that expression elsewhere. So apparently our like cultural references are lacking. So
first of all, I have very good pop culture references. I just don't know history of like actual facts and things in the world. So that's fine.
So sorry to all of our listeners who were like, wow.
Yeah, have to deal with our sort of ongoing stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, at least I know what an asp is.
Okay, fine, Serena. I guess I'll read up on all of the knowledge in the world before our next podcast.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we actually know all of this stuff. Whenever we say something stupid, everybody, it's because we're just like kind of we're just trying to dumb ourselves down
totally.
and be like more relatable. You know what I mean? But I severely digress. I really have to stop digressing.
Let's gress.
No, I'm
okay.
Sorry, what?
Okay,
progress or regress.
We're progressing.
How's that, Serena? Look at those words.
Yeah. Anyways, blah blah blah. She asks Hunt at some point if he regrets the rebellion, and he basically says no, even though it was awful. The angel hierarchies are bullshit, and if I ever get free, he basically implies that he's going to kill everybody. The angels, the Asteri, the Senate, the governors, all of them who were there at our sentencing.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, he's just going to kill everybody. And then after that, she's like, what happens after that? He says, I don't know. Maybe you and I can figure it out, Quinlan. We'll have centuries to do it. Oh. After I massacre like everybody on the planet.
Right. And we can just like settle in our like cute little apartment with no repercussions.
Yeah. And then she says, if I make the drop, and then they do their yap about like, oh, maybe I won't make the drop. I don't know who's going to like.
She's like, I won't do a public anchor. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Like little elitist Bryce.
Yeah. Just blah, blah, blah. We have to just keep up at a breakneck pace because there's a lot. Next day, I just quickly know, okay, there's some cute domesticity. He makes her breakfast, as we discussed. He's a good cook, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And also, they stayed up until midnight binge watching a reality show about a bunch of hot young Vanir working at a beach club in the Coral Islands.
I mean,
I think it's Lohan Beach Club. That's what I pictured.
Okay, I was like, is this more of like a below deck kind of thing? Okay.
I think it's like Lohan Beach Club. Like, I'm sure literally all of our listeners watched it, but in case you didn't, Lindsay Lohan owned a beach club in, I believe, Mykonos. I think it was that. I think that's what Sarah had in her mind. And of course, Hunt refused to watch it first, but by the end of the first hour, he'd be the one pressing play on the next episode and then the next. And it didn't hurt that they started on opposite ends of the sectional. And then they ended up side by side, thighs pressed.
Oh, this part less relatable. I feel like when you first introduced me to Love Island, that was me. I was like skeptical. And then I was like, let's go. But then I didn't scooch closer to you on the couch, though.
No, unfortunately.
But you do get to a point where you're like, oh my God, I'm on episode 47.
Yeah. So that's cute. But anyways,
we love it.
Our domestic bliss once again interrupted. Micah gives Hunt a wee task. And by a wee task, I mean a rather harrowing task of like killing several people and not allowed to use guns. So like must make it a slow and torturous death.
Bummer.
Pretty gruesome.
He goes MIA basically for like 8 hours or something. And Bryce starts wigging out.
Oh, this was really cute. She gets so scared.
She's super worried about him. And finally, she calls Rune and is like, oh, there's something wrong with Hunt. blah, blah, blah. But then as she calls Rune, Hunt walks through the door.
Which, by the way, I love that she did call Rune. It's like, okay, you want to pretend like your relationship isn't improving, but it is. You called him.
I know.
That was cute.
Softening.
Yeah.
There's a warmthening, not a word.
Sorry, Serena.
Sorry, Serena. Just whatever. Anyways, Hunt comes through the door. He's in his wee battle suit. He's covered in lots of different bloods. And he basically can't talk. He's like catatonic. And he, wow, this lemonade really has me feeling loopy.
Yeah, you got like this one spiked lemonade
I was gonna
at the
say,
pretzel
did somebody
bakery.
spike it?
I honestly think it's also, I think I maybe need to start podcasting from bed because I feel just like really like comfortable and I'm just like ranting.
I love this. I love this for you.
Yeah, he's in a state and basically can't speak and just kind of walks past her into the bathroom and he showers. And he's in the shower for literally an hour when she finally goes to inspect to see if he's like okay.
I think this is the cutest scene of the whole book.
I know. See, this is such a good... I think Sarah's so good at intimate scenes that aren't like full sex scenes.
Like, this is the most intimate scene.
Yeah. So Bryce goes in. He's sitting on the shower floor. He has the water turned up so hot, it's literally scalding him, and his skin is like burning and rehealing. And he's just on the ground, just like head between his knees. And she can't explain why she did it, but she literally like gets in the shower with her sweatpants and like t-shirt on and like turns the temperature down a little bit. And then she's like, I'm gonna clean you off. And this is in the pantheon of hair washing scenes of SJM. I think I like the other one better, and we can't say. We'll say it happens in Throne of Glass series. If you know, you definitely know. But that's actually one of my favorite, like...
hair washing scenes. Yeah.
Wait, remind me which book it is? Sorry, my brain is blanking. Sorry.
It's in Queen of Shadows.
Okay.
I probably should know the exact chapter because I listened to it a lot.
I'll go back to it after this. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, but
better.
like hair, like
no, it's the most like
hair washing and like
thing ever. Yeah.
Scratching of the scalp for me is just like a lot. It's really good.
Okay, I have like one question.
What's your note?
So she also does his wings. And I'm like, and she just soaps his wings. There's no way proper wing care. Like, doesn't he have feathers? There's no way you should be doing some soap application to wings. I feel like you probably...
Counterpoint. Have you ever seen the Dawn commercials? With the ducks that have been in oil spills? Because they wash them with Dawn.
But do you think that's what one should do to like... Because like, I assume you need your feathers to be in like kind of good shape to fly well.
Yeah, and they really need to get that blood off.
And I'm sure there are like oils and there's like it's like when you like shampoo your hair too much, you know? I worry about that.
Okay, yeah. You worry about stripping the natural oils.
I worry about stripping the natural oils from the feather.
Well, I guess neither of them were like super hung up on that in this moment, but like I do hear your concerns, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like yeah.
So importantly, very importantly, after she gives him his wonderful shampoo, gently scrubbing his head, she realizes he was naked. She had somehow forgotten. Utterly naked. She didn't let herself contemplate it. Well, you kind of are, but sure. And she takes care of his upper body as best she could. And then she says, I can't clean your wings with you sitting against the wall. So she's like kneeling or whatever, sitting.
Yeah.
You know, when she's giving him like a shampoo and stuff. And so I can't take care of your wings when you're sitting like this. So he stands up and she kept her eyes averted from what exactly this brought into her direct line of vision. The, quote, very considerable something that he didn't seem to notice or care about. So she wouldn't care about it either.
I'm so glad we get our favorite word.
Considerable.
Very considerable something, which I love because she's like, listen, she's got a D in her face. So like, obviously you're going to clock it.
Right.
It's obviously not the time, but you're going to clock it, but you're going to like not clock it.
Yeah.
It's not like
you're going to like
sexy.
put it like aside on a shelf for later.
Yeah. She clocked it, but like was maintaining respectableness. She stood and gently turned him. She also didn't let herself admire the view from behind either, the muscles and perfection of him. Your ass is perfect, he'd said to her. Likewise, she could now attest. So again, I think she is admiring it, but she's doing her best.
She's
I think
staying
we
on
have to
task
all acknowledge that.
as best she can.
Amazing. Anyway, so she goes to like put a clean shirt on him, but there's all these like slats on the back for wings. So she's like, okay, I can't really like deal with this. So then she just puts a pair of boxer briefs on him.
Like
Yeah,
that was
I
like
know.
classic
It's like
SJM, like
men
attention to
with
detail.
bra.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, ooh, okay, I don't know. Which honestly, it does kind of like upset me to like think about that. Like that Hunt has to like put on like a weird like shirt that has like you know like baby like
Ooh,
you know like
yeah.
baby like snaps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he has some like weird like but whatever.
Like
and then
diaper
you have to think
snaps.
about like his wings like sticking out of his shirt. And I don't really
I
want to
know.
think about that.
No,
So we just
his
won't.
wings are gone except for when he flies in my head.
Or they just like somehow like there doesn't need to be like a slat like
Yeah.
apparatus for
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
wings. Whatever. We're not going to think about it. She gets him into his boxer briefs.
Again, without looking at anything.
Exactly. Gets him into bed, kind of like pets his forehead, strokes his hair away, and you know, she's like, okay, good night. And then he just like reaches out and like tugs on her wrist, and she knows that it means like he wants her to stay.
Aw.
So she's like, I can't even leave this room to get my pajamas because I just don't want to leave him. So she takes off all of her sopping wet clothes, puts on his big t-shirt,
Finally.
climbs into bed. And I want to set the scene because Hunt, being the good sort of military man that he is, he makes his bed pristinely every day. So I need us to understand. She said the sheets were warm and smelled of him. Rain-kissed cedar. So first of all, we're getting his scent.
Okay,
Rain-kissed cedar. Love.
Yeah.
It's a good
That's a
scent.
good
I love
one.
It's
rain.
a great scent. And I want us to understand he made his bed so it's like a perfect like hotel bed.
Mm-hmm.
Just wonderfully made when you peel back that comforter and the sheets are just perfect and it's just wonderful to climb into, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I just want us all to be picturing it.
Great.
He makes room for her. She gets into bed. Syrinx curls up at the foot of the bed. Just cozy, mosey. Okay? And she just like sits against the headboard and then she's kind of shocked as he puts his head in her lap basically and she just like strokes his hair until he falls asleep. And then later in the middle of the night he wakes up and he's like, oh wow, like what? And then he carries her into her bed, which like rude, just keep her with you. But whatever.
Yeah, but whatever.
Right? Can't you just be like, oh, I'm still asleep?
But that's
was a-
wait. Is
What?
that where we leave it, or did I forget to do the last? No, this is where we leave
That's
it.
where we leave it, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. That was
Just
a lot.
cozy.
There was a lot in that episode. Plot-wise, maybe not so much, but a lot of
But like relationship development.
yeah.
Wow.
And just taking matters into one's hands and such.
I want to put out a call. I want to put out a call to action for our listeners.
Okay.
And I want you, if you have not made your bed today, dare I say, even maybe if you're feeling up to it, I want you to, first of all, change your sheets or wash them if you can. If you can't, okay, fine, skip to the next step. I want you to make that bed immaculately. I want things to be tucked in. I want the pillows right. And I want you to treat yourself to having like a hotel bed. That's what I call my bed. When I make my bed, I make it hotel bed. And I want you to do that for yourself.
Email us a picture.
Email us a picture. And I want you to, when the time is right, which is now, I don't care if you're working, I don't care what you're doing, I want you to peel back your like wonderful comforter. I want you to climb in and I just want you to feel really cozy and like take a nap.
We're becoming Jordan Peterson. Like,
Oh, yeah, like,
make your bed every day and like
Yeah,
you'll be a real
like-
man.
Yeah, you'll be like a lobster or something. I don't know.
What?
He has a thing about lobsters.
I'll definitely take a nap. I don't know about the first part, but we'll see.
Okay.
Dina,
Okay. I'll see. Maybe.
you're going to really appreciate it for yourself if you
All
do
right.
it.
I think we're like going off the rails. We need to, I think, wrap this up.
I'm sorry.
episode is
I've
so
been in
off
a
the
really silly, goofy mood.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much. Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Take matters into your own hands. Do what you need to do. Tell people about the podcast.
I hope at least one of you was listening to this accidentally, like in a car with other people or something.
Yeah.
If so, tell us about how awkward we made it for you and your friends.
Spread the good word, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.